Settle in now and let the village grow quiet around you. Lower the volume just a little, until my voice is no louder than a breeze moving through the long grass at the edge of the lane. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Let your jaw soften and your hands grow heavy where they rest. Tonight you are somewhere gentle, somewhere safe, in an old country village from a slower, kinder time. So there is nowhere you need to be and nothing you need to do. Simply breathe in slowly and let the breath ease back out. With each one, you sink a little deeper toward rest, and the day behind you grows soft and far away. The cobbled square at the village center is empty and bright, washed clean by moonlight that seems to come from everywhere at once. You walk slowly across it, your steps unhurried, listening to the soft scuff of your shoes on the worn round stones. The old market cross stands in the middle, its carved face smoothed by centuries, glowing pale grey. Shutters are closed over every window, and behind them the houses sleep. A single lantern still burns above an inn door, amber and steady, but it asks nothing of you. The fountain in the corner has been stilled for the night, its basin a mirror of dark sky. You pause beneath the cross and feel how peaceful it is to be the only one awake. The village lane is bordered by tall hedgerows, and tonight the moonlight finds its way through every gap, scattering pale coins of light across the path before you. You walk between the hedges slowly, your fingertips trailing the cool leaves. Tiny white moths drift up as you pass, then settle again. The blackberry brambles hang heavy and still, their fruit dark and unseen. Somewhere within the hedge a small creature rustles, a hedgehog perhaps, going about its quiet business, and you let it be. The air is thick with the green scent of crushed leaves and night-blooming things. Above you the stars are faint, dimmed by the brightness of the moon. You feel no need to hurry. The path will lead you home in its own gentle time. In the village at dusk, you let your ears settle on the slow creak of a wooden gate swinging on its iron hinge, back and forth, in no hurry at all. A breeze threads through the lane and the gate answers, with the same soft groan it has made for 100 quiet evenings. Somewhere a latch taps lightly against its frame, then stills. The sound is round and low, neither asking anything of you nor going anywhere. You breathe in time with it, in as it opens, out as it drifts back, and the gentle rhythm loosens something in your shoulders, until the lane and the gate and your slow breath all seem to be resting together. Out on the heath above the village, where the heather rolls away purple and soft, a nightingale has fallen silent at last and settled into the low scrub to rest. All through the dusk its song poured rich and tireless across the dark, but now even the nightingale sleeps, folded small among the woody stems, feathers loosened, head tucked away. The heath lies hushed and fragrant, the heather still in the windless air. You can imagine the little brown bird nestled deep in the scrub, breathing slow, its great song put away inside it for the night. The stars spread wide and bright above the silent heath, and the nightingale rests beneath them, hidden in the heather, as peaceful now as the land it sang to. The dovecote stands pale and round against the greying dawn, You approach it slowly across the dewy yard, and the soft cooing of the doves drifts down to meet you, low and rolling and infinitely peaceful. A few of the birds sit on the small landing ledges, their feathers fluffed against the morning cool, watching you with mild round eyes. As the first light catches the curve of the old stone tower, warming it gently from grey to cream. The air is cool and still. One dove launches softly into the air and circles once before settling again. You stand below in the quiet, listening to their gentle murmur, and feel the slow tranquility of the hour ease you toward stillness. Beyond the last garden gate, the hayfield stretches away under the moon, the cut stubble shining like a sea of pale silver threads. You walk the narrow path along its edge, brushing your hand against the cool tops of the standing grass that still leans untouched at the field's far side. The haystacks rise here and there, rounded and dark, casting long soft shadows that lean toward the woods. The smell of dry grass and warm earth lingers in the night air. A small breeze moves across the stalks and they whisper together, a hushing sound, gentle and even. Far off an owl calls once, low and unhurried, then is quiet. You stand and let the wide field hold you in its calm. The path through the small wood is soft with fallen leaves and dark with night's lingering damp. You walk slowly beneath the tall, still trees, where the early light comes down in faint, green shafts through the leaves far overhead. Mist drifts among the trunks, and every branch seems to drip in its own slow time. Moss grows thick and cool over the roots and stones, and a faint smell of earth and bark fills the quiet air. A wood pigeon coos somewhere deep among the boughs, soft and round and far away. Nothing hurries here. You stop and lay your palm against the cool, rough bark of an old beech, breathing the deep forest hush, and feel the calm of the dim wood gather quietly all around you. Down by the river, the morning mist lies so thick over the water that the far bank has vanished entirely into soft grey. You sit on the cool grass of the near bank, watching the slow brown current slide silently past, smooth as poured glass. Reeds stand motionless at the water's edge, and a moorhen picks its quiet way among them. The willows trail their long branches into the stream, barely stirring. The air is cool and still, and smells of water and mud and green growth. A fish rises somewhere with a soft, single ring of ripples that quickly fades. You breathe slowly, watching the patient river flow on into the mist, and feel the deep, unhurried calm of the water seep gently into your settling mind. From the church porch you watch the last light fade from the old stained glass, the colors dimming gently from jewel bright to soft shadow. The stone of the porch is cool now beneath your hand, though it held the sun all day. In the little churchyard the gravestones lean companionably among the long grass, their inscriptions softened by years of weather, and a single yew stands black and calm against the violet sky. A robin sings its thin evening song from the lich gate. Somewhere a latch lifts and falls. The first bats flicker out from the belfry, silent as thoughts. The peace here is very old and very deep, settled into the stones over centuries, and it settles into you too, quiet and unhurried, as the dusk gathers softly all around. Beneath the great elm at the crossroads you rest a while in the spring dusk, your back against its broad cool trunk, and watch the 4 green lanes fade gently into shadow. The trees' new leaves whisper faintly far above, stirred by an air you can barely feel. A weathered wooden signpost lanes nearby, its old painted names softened by time. Somewhere down one of the lanes, a cart moves slowly homeward, its wheels turning with a low and easy creak that fades into the distance. The first bats flicker out against the pale sky. The day's warmth lingers in the ground beneath you. There is a deep crossroads calm in sitting here while the light goes, watching the quiet lanes lead off to who knows where, in no hurry at all to choose or to rise. The dairy at the back of the farmhouse is cool and dim, and smells of milk and clean stone, its broad shelves lined with shallow pans set out to settle. The cream rises slowly through the night, undisturbed, a quiet and patient kind of work that needs no hands. The flagstone floor is cold beneath bare feet, and the air holds a faint sweetness. A small high window shows a wedge of starlit sky. Earthenware crocks stand in their rows, pale shapes in the gentle dark. Nothing moves here, the room simply does its slow work in the silence. You stand a moment in the cool, milky calm, breathing the clean quiet of it, and the unhurried patience of the place, where good things come only with time, settles you into a deeper, slower ease. In the dark farmyard, the water trough lies perfectly still, its surface a flawless black mirror holding the whole scattered sky. Not a breath of wind disturbs it. The stars rest unbroken on the water as clearly as in the heavens above. The cobbles around it are damp and cool, gleaming faintly. The buildings stand dark and quiet on every side, their work done, their doors closed for the night. The air smells of cool stone and wet wood and far-off hay. A single moth drifts past, too light to leave a ripple. You crouch beside the still trough and gaze down into its perfect doubled sky, and the deep and unmoving calm of the dark water, holding all those quiet stars so steadily, draws a matching stillness gently down through you. From the church tower, if you climb the worn spiral stair, you come out upon the glades beneath the open sky, and tonight the whole moonlit country lies spread before you. The village rooftops cluster close below, silver and grey, and the lanes wind-pale between them. Beyond, the patchwork fields stretch away to the dark hills, every hedge and wall picked out faintly by the moon. The river is a winding thread of light. No bell sounds, the great cold bells hang silent in the chamber beneath your feet. The night air is fresh and cool upon your face, and a soft wind moves over the parapet. You lean upon the ancient stone and gaze across the sleeping land, feeling wonderfully calm, wonderfully high, wonderfully removed from every small concern below. The dovecote stands round and white at the corner of the manor garden, and the moon turns it to a tower of soft pale stone. You stand on the gravel path before it, listening to the low and drowsy murmur of the doves nested in their many little arched holes, a soft burbling sound that rises and falls like a lullaby. Now and then a single bird shifts its feathers with a faint, soft flutter. The garden around you lies in silvered order, the clipped box hedges casting crisp dark shadows, the gravel paths glowing pale between them. A sundial stands at the garden's heart, useless now, its face all shadow and moonlight. The night air is cool and smells of clipped leaves and cool stone. You breathe slowly and let the gentle cooing carry your thoughts away. The dew path leads down between hedgerows, still dark with the lingering night. You follow it slowly as the sky brightens overhead, brushing past the wet leaves that release their cool droplets at your touch. Hawthorn blossom hangs pale and heavy in the dim light, its faint sweet scent drifting on the motionless air. A small brown bird flits from branch to branch, too sleepy yet to sing. The earth beneath your feet is soft and damp. With each slow step the light grows a little kinder, warming the tops of the hedges to a gentle green. You walk on without hurry, breathing the cool morning air, feeling the quiet of the lane fold softly around you. Along the lane the gas lamps were never lit, and so the night is dark, and the sound of a passing cart comes slowly nearer through it, the wooden wheels turning with a soft, even rumble on the packed earth. There is the gentle clop of the horse's hooves, unhurried, the faint creak of the cart's frame, the low rumble of the wheels growing and then fading as it passes down the lane. You stand at your door in the dark and listen to it come and go, the patient rhythm of an old journey through a quiet place. The sound dwindles into the distance, softer and softer, until only the hush of the night remains around you. The old well in the middle of the village square waits patiently in the dark, its wooden roof black against a sky scattered with stars. The bucket hangs motionless on its rope, and far below the water lies cool and still, holding a small trembling reflection of the moon. Around the square the houses have closed their eyes, every shutter drawn. So the cobbles are damp with night air and gleam faintly where the light touches them. A cat moves once along a wall, soft as a thought, then folds itself into shadow to sleep. The square keeps its old silence, deep and worn smooth by years of gentle nights. You linger a moment by the well, listening to nothing, and the stillness wraps around you like something kind. The village smithy's yard, the bakehouse, and the little row of shops all lie quiet together along the main lane, their roofs white, their windows dark or faintly glowing. You walk the length of the lane in the gentle falling snow, your footsteps soft, taking in the sleeping shapes of the buildings you know so well. A wooden cart rests against a wall, its bed filling slowly with white. A coil of rope, a stack of barrels, a swept doorstep, all dusted now in snow. The cold is mild and the night is still. There is a deep comfort in walking the familiar lane in the quiet, watching the snow gather evenly over all the small workplaces of the village, and you move along at an easy pace, in no hurry to reach the end. The forge is cool and quiet now, the great fire banked and dim, and you sit on the smith's old bench in the gathering dark. By day this place rings with hammer and flame, but in the evening it grows still as a chapel, the tools hung silent on their hooks. A last faint glow lingers in the hearth, casting soft shadows on the blackened walls. You breathe in the familiar smell of iron and coal and old wood. You remember watching the sparks fly here as a child, the patient ringing rhythm of the work. The memory warms you like the dying fire. Outside the village lane is empty and dark. You rest your hands on your knees and let the deep quiet of the forge settle into your bones. The forge stands cold and quiet in the grey dawn, its great hearth dark and silent. You pause at the open doorway and look in at the heavy anvil, the rows of hanging tools, the scattered grey ash of yesterday's fire. The smell of cold iron and old smoke lingers in the still air. Through a high window, the first pale light slants in, catching the dust that floats slow and dreamlike above the earthen floor. Outside, the village sleeps on, the smith not yet risen to wake the flame. A sparrow hops in over the threshold, pecks at something, and flits away. You stand in the cool quiet, breathing the patient stillness, and feel the deep calm of a workplace at rest. In the low barn, the cattle stand drowsing in the warm dimness, their breath rising in soft clouds. You step inside from the cool morning, and the air is close and sweet with hay and the steady warmth of their bodies. A thin line of dawn light enters through a gap in the planks, falling gold across the scattered straw. One cow turns her great gentle head toward you, blinks slowly, and returns to her quiet chewing. The others shift and settle, unhurried. There is a deep, ancient calm in this place, a sense of slow and patient life. You lean against a wooden post and breathe it in, letting the warmth and the soft sounds ease you towards stillness. Near the bottom of the hill, a small stream moves over smooth stones, and its voice is the softest thing in the village. It is not a rush, but a long, even murmur, 1,000 tiny sounds braided into one. You sit on the warm grass of the bank and let the water do the talking, the way it slips around a half-sunk rock, the way it gathers in a little pool and turns there slowly before moving on. There is a faint trickle where it spills over a flat ledge, steady as breathing. Nothing in that sound hurries. It simply continues, gentle and unbroken, and you feel yourself carried along on its low, patient hush. You stand on the village outskirts, where a winding track leads off between hedgerows into the glowing countryside, and you let your eyes follow it slowly into the distance. The late sun lies low and rich, gilding the tops of the hedges and the grasses along the verge. A wooden signpost, weathered grey, lines gently at the bend, pointing nowhere in particular. Swallows skim low over the track, then rise and turn away. The warm air is thick with the smell of dust and dry grass and far-off hay. You breathe it in slowly, in no hurry to walk on, simply standing in the soft amber light at the quiet edge of the village, feeling the whole gentle land settle peacefully toward the close of the long, golden day. You sit on the old well's broad stone rim in the center of the village, the cool moss soft beneath your hands. The day's bustle has long faded, and now only the deep hush of night remains, broken by nothing at all. Above you the sky spreads wide and crowded with stars, their soft light falling gently on the pale cottage walls around the little square. You tip your head back and gaze up, picking out the slow patterns, losing them, finding new ones. As the faint smell of water rises from the dark well behind you. Your breathing settles deep and slow. The whole village seems to rest beneath that quiet glittering, patient and unhurried, and you rest with it, feeling the calm of the night sink into you like cool water into thirsty ground. In the dim parlor, the heavy curtains are still half drawn, and the morning light comes in a soft golden bar across the worn rug. You sit in the deep armchair by the cold fireplace, a knitted blanket over your knees, listening to the slow tick of the long case clock in the corner. The house is utterly quiet, everyone else still asleep. Dust drifts gently in the band of light. A vase of garden roses has dropped a single soft petal onto the polished wood. There is nothing to do and nowhere to be. You let your head rest against the high back of the chair and breathe slowly, the deep stillness of the early house wrapping warmly around you, your eyelids growing heavy in the gentle hush. Out in the dark, a soft wind passes over the ripe wheat field, and the whole expanse whispers as the heavy heads bend and lift together. It is a long, low sound, dry and gentle, a vast field breathing in the night, swelling as the gust crosses and falling as it moves on. You stand at the edge of the field and listen to the wheat speak in its quiet voice, the rustle rolling away from you toward the far hedges and then returning. There is nothing sharp in it, only this enormous soft sighing of grain and air under the dark sky. It is a patient, endless sound, and it draws your breathing down into its slow, easy tide. On a low branch above the duck pond, a kingfisher has settled, its brilliant colors gone soft and shadowed in the dusk. The fishing is finished for the day, and the little bird sits perfectly still, beak tucked, a small jewel dimmed to gray by the falling night. The water beneath is calm and dark, no longer flashing with the day's reflections. A reed bends and straightens in a breath of air. You can imagine the kingfisher's tiny feet gripping the willow, its body rounded and warm, its bright eye closing slowly. All its swift darting is set aside now, replaced by a deep and patient stillness as the pond grows quiet and the first owl calls far off across the fields. From the cottage doorway you watch the rain move in soft grey sheets across the valley below, veiling the distant farms and the winding lane. The steady fall hushes the whole wide land, and the green hills fade gently into the wet and silver air. Smoke rises slow from the scattered chimneys, pressed low by the rain, and a single cart track gleams pale through the meadows. The cool, damp wind carries the smell of rain and grass to where you stand. Nothing hurries in all that broad and quiet country. The rain simply falls, even and unending, over field and wood and roof alike. You lean against the door frame and let the vastness of the gentle weather draw the tension from you, until you feel as wide and calm and slow as the falling rain. Behind the inn, the stable yard lies quiet under the mist, the cobbles dark and wet, the horses dozing in their stalls with their heads low. You stand by the half-door and watch them, their breath rising in small soft clouds, their tails swishing slow and lazy. A bundle of hay sits in the manger, sweet-smelling, untouched as yet. The fog drifts in through the open archway from the lane beyond, soft and grey, brushing the worn old beams. A stable cat sleeps curled on a sack in the corner, perfectly content. There is no clatter of arrival yet, no bustle, only the deep, warm, breathing quiet of the early morning. You lay your arms on the cool door and breathe the scent of hay and horse and damp stone, and let the peaceful stillness fold gently around you. Picture a quiet smithy at the close of day, where the forge has gone cold and the deep stillness has filled the dim workshop. A faint breeze comes through the wide open doorway, cool from the lane, stirring the fine grey ash on the hearth and carrying away the last faint smell of warm iron. The great anvil stands silent and still, and the hammers rest in their row along the bench. Outside, the village settles into dusk, soft and unhurried. A swallow swoops once through the doorway and out again into the dark. You stand in the cool, dim space, breathing the quiet, and the stillness of the resting forge and the gentle breeze seem to slow the evening into something calm and kind. A coil of beeswax candle string hangs in the pantry, golden and faintly tacky, smelling sweet and warm as honey. You touch it and feel the soft give of the wax, the way it clings a little to your fingertip before letting go. The string is wound around a small wooden spool, worn smooth, the wax built up in soft amber layers. A faint dusting of pollen-colored powder clings to the shelf beneath it. There is no candle to dip tonight, no wick to draw. The coil simply hangs in the cool pantry dark, holding its sweet warm scent, slowly perfuming the still air. You breathe in the honeyed sweetness of it, and the small room feels gentle and golden, even in the deepening dark. Down at the bottom of the village, the brook widens into a shallow ford where carts cross in the daytime, and tonight the water runs thin and bright across the smooth flat stones. You stand at the edge where the road meets the water and watch the moonlight break and scatter on the gentle current. The crossing stepping stones rise pale and dry above the flow, worn flat by years of careful feet. Willows lean from both banks, their long leaves trailing, perfectly still in the windless air. A faint mist hovers just above the water, soft and grey. The night is full of the quiet, even sound of the ford, a low, continuous murmur. You feel no urge to cross. You simply stand and watch the water shine, and the calm of it settles deep within you. The dirt track out to the fields is pale in the starlight, and you follow it slowly past the last of the cottages, your steps unhurried and soft. On either side the wheat stands tall and still, a faint silver sheen along its bending heads, whispering only when the gentlest air moves through. Above it all the sky is enormous, a deep velvet crowded with stars from one dark hedge to the other. You stop where the track meets a wooden stile and lean against it, looking up until your neck grows easy and your thoughts grow slow. The night smells of warm grain and cooling earth. Nothing hurries here. You stand in the soft hush between the quiet village and the shining sky, and a calm settles through you, gentle and complete. You sit on the worn stone steps of the old mill, where the slow river turns the great wheel in patient, unhurried circles. Water spills over the wooden paddles with a soft, steady murmur, catching the afternoon light in little sheets of gold before falling back. The air is cool by the river, yet warm where the sun reaches, and you rest in the meeting of the two. Moss grows green and soft along the mill's lower stones. A dragonfly hovers, then drifts away over the bright water. The wheel keeps turning, slow and certain, and the sound of it is like a quiet heartbeat. You let your eyes follow the falling water and feel yourself growing peaceful with its endless, gentle motion. In the small herb garden by the kitchen door you kneel a moment on the cool path, the scent of thyme and mint rising soft around you where your knees press the leaves. So the work is done for the day. You came out only to breathe the night a little. Above the low wall the sky stretches dark and clear, thick with stars that glimmer gently down on the sleeping plants. You sit back on your heels and look up, your hands resting easy in your lap. The cottage window behind you glows faint and warm. A light dew is settling, cool on the leaves and your skin. You feel calm and pleasantly tired, your mind unwinding in the quiet, and you stay there a while longer, content beneath the soft and patient shining of the stars. The village wheelwright's yard lies still beneath the snow, the half-finished wheels leaning against the shed wall, their spokes traced in soft white. You stand at the edge of the yard, where the falling flakes settle on the timber stacked neat beneath its lane-to-roof. The smell of cut wood lingers faintly in the cold air. A workbench sits dusted with snow, a few tools resting where they were set down at the day's end. The shed door is closed, the lamp within dark. All around, the snow comes down slow and soundless in the windless night. There is a quiet satisfaction in the resting yard, the patient half-made things waiting for tomorrow's hands, and you stand a while in the gentle cold, watching the white gather over the careful work of the day. Picture a small loft above a village stable, reached by a worn wooden ladder, where the deep stillness smells of straw and old timber. A faint breeze comes through a gap in the gable boards, cool and clean, stirring the dust motes in the last grey light. Below, the animals have settled for the night, their soft, slow breathing rising up through the floor. The hay piled around you is deep and warm and yielding. Through the small opening you can see one bright star low in the darkening sky. You lie back into the straw and pull a rough blanket over you, and the gentle wind whispers across the loft. The quiet warmth and the soft smell of the hay draw your eyes slowly closed. The pony in the small paddock stands quiet beneath a lane-to of weathered boards, its breath rising in soft clouds as the snow falls gently beyond the shelter's edge. You stand at the fence and watch it shift its weight and lower its head, content and calm in the mild cold. Snow gathers on the top rail beneath your hands and on the rounded shape of the water trough nearby. The paddock lies smooth and white, the dark line of the hedge softened along its edges. The pony's coat is thick and warm-looking, and now and then it flicks an ear at a settling flake. The night is still and deep. You stay a while at the fence, soothed by the animal's quiet presence and the slow, soundless falling of the snow over the little paddock. Along the dry stone wall that climbs the hillside above the village, a stone chat has tucked itself into a crevice for the night. By day it perches bold atop the gorse, flicking its tail, but now it has crept into a sheltered gap between the cool grey stones, feathers fluffed into a small round shape. The hill lies dark and silent, the gorse motionless in the windless air. The day's tapping little call has ceased. You can picture the stone chat settled deep in its stony niche, eyes closed, breathing soft and slow, warm against the rock that still holds the day's faint heat. The stars wheel slowly over the quiet hill, and the little bird rests within the old wall, safe and still, all through the night. The baker's chimney sends up one thin ribbon of smoke into the blue evening, the last loaves long since cooled on their racks within. You pass the shuttered window and catch the lingering smell of warm bread and ash, drifting soft upon the air. The cobbles underfoot have gone the color of pewter, and a low mist begins to gather at the foot of the walls. Somewhere a dog turns 3 times and lies down with a sigh. The village has wound itself down like an old clock, gently, without complaint. You walk on through the dimming street, your thoughts as quiet as the houses, while the sky above deepens slowly toward the velvet dark of true and restful night. Down by the old stone well, the water lies still and dark, holding a sliver of the fading sky upon its surface. You rest your hands on the cool, worn rim and look into that small circle of dusk, where one early star has come to float. The bucket hangs unmoving on its rope, and the rope sways only the smallest amount in the evening air. Moss cushions the stones beneath your fingers, soft and damp and old. The whole yard has gone the color of slate and lavender, and the only sound is a faint trickle somewhere underground. You feel no hurry here, only the slow blue settling and the patient breathing of the night coming on. The last of the night begins to deepen toward its lowest, stillest point, and the whole village lies in a sleep so complete it seems to hold its breath. Every chimney is cold or nearly so, every window dark, every door closed soft against the dark. The lanes are empty, the green deserted, the stream murmuring on alone to itself. Above it all the great wheel of stars turns slowly, patiently, toward a dawn still hours away. The air is at its coolest and cleanest now, perfectly still. Nothing stirs in all the sleeping place but the slow settling of old timbers and the faint far voice of water. You stand at the heart of this deep and gathered quiet, breathing slowly, and the great peace of the village in its deepest rest settles fully and finally over you, soft as sleep itself. In the bell tower of the old village church, where the bells hang silent in the dark, jackdaws have come to roost among the dusty timbers. By day they call and tumble about the steeple, but now they have settled onto the beams in soft dark rows, feathers ruffled, heads tucked, scarcely stirring. The great bells loom motionless above them, and a faint coolness rises from the ancient stone. The clamor of the day has died away. You can picture the jackdaws drowsing high in the tower, swaying the smallest amount as they sleep, safe among the beams they know. The night lies deep over the church and the sleeping village below, and the little crows rest in the silent steeple, until the morning light. From the village square, the low murmur of a fountain reaches you, the soft, continuous fall of water into a worn stone basin. It is a gentle, endless sound, the splash blurred into a steady hush by the many small streams that feed it, rising and overlapping without pause. You sit on the cool rim in the dark and let the fountain murmur fill your ears, the soft tumble of water on water, the faint trickle along the basin's edge. There is no beginning and no end to it, only this calm, flowing voice in the heart of the sleeping village. The sound asks nothing and gives much, and its even, watery hush loosens your thoughts and carries you towards stillness. You pass along a hedgerow heavy with late summer growth, where the afternoon sun threads warmly through the leaves. Wild roses and bramble blossoms catch the light, glowing pale among the green. The air hums with the slow movement of insects, a sound as soft and round as sleep itself. Now and then a bird rustles deep in the hedge and goes still again. You walk slowly along the worn footpath at its base, the dry earth firm beneath your feet, the warmth of the day rising gently around you. A breeze moves the topmost leaves and lets a little more gold spill through. There is nothing urgent here, only the long, drowsy patience of the countryside resting in its own quiet abundance. The village square empties slowly as the light goes amber, the market stalls long since packed away. You stand by the old stone cross at its center and watch the shadows lengthen across the worn flagstones. A few late doves walk in slow circles, murmuring softly to themselves before flying up to roost under the eaves of the inn. The painted sign above the door sways the smallest amount in a breeze you can barely feel. From an open window comes the faint, homely clatter of someone laying a table for supper. The warm stone of the cross holds the day's heat under your palm. Lamplight begins to glow gold in one window, then another, and the square settles softly into evening, calm and unhurried and kind. Inside the candlemaker's shop, the air is warm and faintly sweet with beeswax, and rows of pale tapers hang cooling from their racks. You step in from the cold and feel the gentle heat of the small fire where the wax is kept soft and ready. The deep freeze presses at the shuttered window, but here the warmth lingers golden and close. Half-made candles rest on the bench, smooth and pale, and the scent of honey and tallow fills the little room. A single lit taper stands on the counter, its small flame steady and bright in the dim. You linger in the quiet warmth, breathing the soft sweetness, watching the flame, and feel the deep winter night grow gentle and far away beyond the wax-scented dark. Out in the hayfield, the cut grass lies in long pale rows, sweet and drying in the cooling air of the blue hour. You walk the edge of the field with your hands in your pockets, your shadow long gone now into the general dusk. The sky has turned to that soft deep blue that seems to hush the whole world beneath it. A single corncrake rasps once from the far hedge and then is quiet. The smell of the hay is everywhere, warm and golden even in the dark. You stop and stand a while, listening to the small wind moving through the grass, feeling the day's labor ease out of your shoulders, and the evening settles around you, vast and calm and kind. You walk a dirt lane lined with elder bushes at the very edge of the village, where the deep stillness of the night has stretched out over the fields beyond. A faint breeze comes across the open land, cool and grassy, carrying the heavy sweet smell of elderflower in the dark. The bushes nod their pale blossoms gently, then go still. A few late fireflies drift low over the verge, their small lights blinking slowly on and off. The lane is soft underfoot, packed earth gone cool with the evening. You move along it without hurry, breathing the perfumed air, watching the little lights, and the whole world seems to slow to the pace of your quiet steps and the gentle, wandering wind. The orchard behind the farmhouse lies still beneath the moon, row upon row of old apple trees with their gnarled trunks and heavy crowns. You walk slowly down the grassy aisle between them, and the moonlight falls in dappled patches through the leaves, shifting only when a faint breeze stirs the branches. Windfall apples lie scattered in the cool grass, their round shapes faintly gleaming, and their cidery sweetness fills the night air. A ladder leans forgotten against one trunk, left for the morning's picking. Somewhere a small bird shifts upon its branch and goes quiet again. The orchard has tended its fruit through the long summer, and now it simply rests, and you rest with it, breathing the sweet cool air, your steps growing slower with each gentle pace. In the dim loft above the barn, you sit among the stored apples and the warm smell of hay, a single small window letting in the last grey light. The day's labor is finished, and you have climbed up here to rest, as you often do, in the gentle hush beneath the roof beams. Dust drifts slowly in the fading light. Below, the animals have grown quiet in their stalls, and the whole farm has settled into evening. You remember childhood afternoons spent hiding in this very loft, the same sweet apple smell, the same soft dark. The memory rises gently and fades. A mouse rustles somewhere among the straw and is still. You lean back against a sack of grain and let the peaceful dark gather you in. The track along the top of the field is hedged with hazel, and the fog pools low in the valley below so that the village is hidden, just one chimney's smoke rising thin into the grey. You walk slowly, and the cobnuts hang heavy and damp in their leafy cups overhead. A spider's web stretched between two branches holds the morning in 100 small bright beads. Below you can hear the muffled clink of a cowbell, soft and far, rising out of the unseen meadow. The cool air smells of leaf mould and dew. There is no need to hurry down, the village will be there when the fog lifts. For now you simply walk the high green path, breathing easy, watching the slow grey sea of mist below grow gently bright. Inside the bakery, the brick oven has been warming through the dark hours, and the small room is filled with a deep, comforting heat and the smell of rising dough. You sit on a stool in the corner, watching the baker's slow, practiced hands fold and shape the soft pale loaves. A flour drifts in the lamplight and settles like fine snow on the wooden table. The window is still dark blue with the last of the night. There is no rush in the work. Each loaf is set gently to rest beneath a cloth. The warmth wraps around you, and the quiet rhythm of the kneading is steady and sure. You breathe the rich, yeasty air and feel yourself growing pleasantly drowsy in the cozy, glowing dark. Back at the village, the fog is beginning to thin, but it still lies soft in the lane as you make your slow way home, the cottages emerging warm and grey around you. A faint light shows now in a kitchen window, and the smell of wood smoke drifts cool and sweet on the damp air. The cobbles shine, and the dew drips gently from the eaves and the gate latches. A cat sits on a low wall, washing one paw, content and unhurried. The well, the pump, the old oak on the grain are all softening into view as the mist lifts. There is a deep, settled peace over everything, the village waking slow and gentle into the day. You walk the quiet lane, breathing easy, and feel the soft grey calm of the morning go with you, slow and warm and kind. The lane of cottages curves gently downhill, and from the top you look out over the snow-covered roofs, each one rounded and white and softly glowing where lamplight reaches it from within. A smoke rises slow and straight from every chimney into the windless dark, the only movement in the still scene. The deep cold has driven everyone indoors, and behind the frosted windows you imagine the warm hearths, the gathered families, the quiet evenings. Snow lies smooth and unbroken along the lane below. The clouded sky holds a faint pale glow. You stand a while at the top of the hill, breathing the clean sharp air, taking in the sleeping village in its blanket of snow, and feel a deep and gentle peace settle quietly over you. You lie on your back in the soft hay of the open cart, parked for the night beside the barn, and look straight up into the heavens. The wooden boards are smooth beneath the loose straw, and the hay smells warm and sweet all around you. Above, the sky is so full of stars that the dark between them seems almost crowded out, a vast soft glittering that goes on and on. You let your eyes wander without searching for anything, drifting from one faint point to the next. The village around you is silent, the cottages dark shapes at the edge of sight. A cool breath of air moves over you now and then. Your body grows heavy and content, and the great peaceful sky seems to lower itself gently, like a quilt, over the resting little world. You sit on an old bench against the orchard wall, the stone still holding a little of the day's warmth at your back. Around you the apple trees stand in patient rows, their branches faintly outlined against the glittering sky. The night is so clear that the stars come down almost to the tops of the trees, a wide soft dome of them, unhurried and bright. Now and then a leaf turns over in the gentle air with a sound like a sigh. You breathe in the smell of grass and ripening fruit. And nothing moves but the slow wheel of the heavens, too slow to see, only felt. You rest your hands in your lap and let the deep quiet of the orchard fold around you like a blanket. On the dresser, a small hand mirror lies face up, its silver backing worn, its handle carved with a faded vine. You lift it and feel the smooth, cool glass, the worn ridges of the carving fitting your fingers, the slight weight that settles comfortably in the palm. The mirror holds a dim, soft reflection of the shadowed ceiling, blurred at the edges where the silver has aged. A faint trace of powder dusts the rim. There is nothing to check tonight, no hair to smooth or face to study. The mirror simply rests where it was set down, holding its quiet pool of grey light, reflecting only stillness, while the dim room settles around it and your eyes grow heavy and the evening sinks gently into sleep. You stand at a low cottage window in the dim of evening, looking out as the deep stillness settles over the village lane. A faint breeze stirs the climbing rose around the frame, and a single pale petal drifts down past the glass without a sound. Inside, the room is warm and dim, lit only by the soft glow of a banked fire. Out in the lane, the last footsteps have long faded, and a thin mist begins to gather low over the cool grass. The breeze brings the faint, sweet smell of the rose and the green damp of the night. You let the curtain fall softly closed, turn toward the warm dark room, and feel the quiet of the evening wrap gently round you like a shawl. From a small rise just outside the village, you look back at the whole settlement gathered in the hollow, its rooftops white, its windows scattered points of warm gold in the deep blue evening. The snow falls between you and the houses in a slow, soft veil, blurring the lights into gentle halos. A footpath leads down the slope toward the lane, already half filled with fresh white. The cold is mild, the air clean and still. You stand on the rise and breathe slowly, taking in the small, perfect picture of the sleeping village beneath the falling sky. There is a great tenderness in the sight of it, all that warmth and rest cupped in the snowy hollow, and you linger a while before walking gently down toward the welcoming lights. The pond behind the inn lies still as glass in the last light, fringed with reeds gone soft and grey, holding the fading rose of the sky in its dark water. You sit on the old wooden landing stage and let your feet hang above the quiet surface. A few late dragonflies have settled on the lily pads, their wings folded for the night. A frog plops softly from the bank, and the ripples spread and smooth away. The willows lean close and still. The smell of water and mud and evening flowers fills the cooling air. A moorhen croaks once from the reeds and is quiet. You watch the last color fade slowly from the water, and the deep stillness of the pond seeps gently into you as the dusk gathers among the trees. In the great barn where the threshing was done, a flock of yellow hammers has come to roost among the high-stored sheaves. They nestle into the warm straw in a scatter of small bright shapes, feathers loosened, heads tucked, their soft color dimmed in the gloom. The vast barn lies cool and dim around them, fragrant with grain and dust. The day's simple, repeated song has long fallen silent. You can imagine the yellowhammers burrowed snug into the sheaves, breathing slow, their small bodies warm against the straw. The old beams arch high above like a sheltering roof of night, and the little birds rest beneath them, safe and drowsy, gathered in the heart of the harvest until the morning comes. The chestnut tree on the village green has come into its full spring glory, its great candles of white and pink blossom standing up among the broad green leaves, and you stand beneath its spreading shade in the soft evening light. The ground around it is dappled with the day's last gold, and a few fallen petals lie scattered on the grass. Bees that hummed among the blossom all the warm day have gone home now, and the tree stands quiet. A wooden bench encircles its broad trunk, smooth and worn. Above the rooftops, the sky deepens to dusky violet. There is a grand and gentle peace beneath the old chestnut at evening, its blossom glowing faintly in the failing light, and to stand within its quiet shade is to feel sheltered and wholly at ease. By the dying glow of a small fire in the cottage yard, you sit on a low wooden stool and watch the last sparks rise and wink out among the stars. The flames have settled to soft embers now, breathing orange in the dark, and the warmth wraps gently around your knees. Above, the sky is clear and thick with stars, so many that the longer you look the more appear, soft layer upon soft layer. The village is silent around you, the smell of wood smoke mingling with the cool night air. You feed no more wood to the fire, you only sit and watch it fade, and watch the patient stars hold steady above. A deep contentment settles over you, slow and warm, and your eyelids begin to droop in the gentle, glowing dark. The kitchen garden gate hangs open on the dewy morning, and you step through onto a path lined with overgrown lavender and rosemary, heavy and wet. As you brush past, their scent rises cool and sharp into the still air. Bees are not yet stirring, the flowers stand quiet, each bloom holding a small bead of moisture. A grey cat picks its careful way along the top of the wall, pausing to wash one paw. The sky is soft and pearl-colored, the sun still hidden. You walk slowly, trailing your fingers through the wet herbs, gathering their fragrance. There is nowhere you must be. The garden is calm and dim and green, and you let its sleepy, fragrant peace draw the tension gently out of you. By the doorstep, a cricket has slipped indoors and chirps softly from somewhere near the warm hearthstone, a small, steady note repeating in the quiet room. It pauses, then begins again, the same gentle chirp, close and homely in the dark. There is something kind about a cricket in the house, an old sign of warmth and welcome, and its little sound fills the silence without ever disturbing it. You lie still and listen to the small singer near the embers, the chirp and the pause, the chirp and the pause, even as a slow clock. It asks nothing of you and goes nowhere, and its patient voice settles over you like a thin warm quilt, drawing you towards sleep. The village fountain trickles quietly into its mossy basin, while the rain falls soft all around it in the empty square. You watch from beneath the awning of a shuttered stall as the steady fall stipples the brimming water and runs in thin lines down the worn carved stone. The cobbles gleam dark and wet, and the surrounding houses show only a candle or two through the grey evening. A pigeon shelters in a niche above the fountain, head tucked, content. The two waters, the falling rain and the gentle spout, murmur softly together in the stillness. The cool air smells of wet stone and rain. You stand and listen to their quiet blended music, and the peacefulness of the small square settles over you, soft and deep and slow. The old stone bridge at the village entrance arches over the frozen brook, its parapet rounded smooth with snow, and you pause at its center on your slow evening walk. Below, the brook lies still and pale beneath a thin lid of ice, the snow settling along its banks. On the far side, the first cottages of the village glow faintly through the falling flakes, their windows warm and small. The cold is gentle, the night windless and deep. You rest your hands on the snowy parapet and watch the flakes drift down over the brook and the bridge and the quiet lane beyond. There is no hurry in any of it, only the slow, even falling of the snow, and you stand a while in the calm before crossing softly into the sleeping village. The walled garden behind the old rectory lies in deep, warm shade, its mellow brick walls holding the last of the day's heat. You walk slowly along the gravel path, past espaliered pear trees whose leaves have turned to soft yellow against the stone. Late roses bloom by the sundial in the center, glowing pink and cream in the fading light. A blackbird forages quietly beneath the lavender border. The air is cool and still and rich with the scent of damp earth and ripe fruit. The high walls keep the world's noise far away, and within them there is only a deep and gentle quiet. You pause by the old stone sundial, whose shadow has nearly faded, and stand in the tranquil garden as the soft gold light slowly slips away. You stand at the edge of the stubble field in the last grey light, the harvest all gathered in, the great stooks gone from the land. The village lies quiet beyond the hedge, its chimneys sending up soft threads of smoke. The cool autumn air smells of earth and dry straw and the first fallen leaves. You have come out to walk the empty field one last time before the dark. You remember the warm, long labor of the harvest, the slow, satisfying work of bringing it home. The memory fills you with a quiet gladness. A flock of rooks drifts, cawing softly toward the wood to roost. The light fades from the bare brown field. You turn for home through the gathering dusk, your heart full and your mind at peace with the turning year. You follow a low stone wall along the edge of a sheep pasture, the late sun warming the rough grey stones beneath your trailing hand. A sheep graze peacefully across the slope, drifting slowly over the golden grass, their soft bleats carrying gently on the still air. A lichen grows in pale rosettes upon the wall, and small flowers root in its crevices, nodding in the mild breeze. The light lies thick and amber across the whole quiet field. A lamb lies resting in the lee of the wall, sun-warmed and content. You walk slowly along the old boundary, feeling the warmth of the stone and the deep calm of the grazing flock, and the long, gentle peace of the pasture settles quietly into your unhurried steps. The river path is dim and cool beneath the willows, and the water beside you carries the last pink of the sky downstream in slow, shifting ribbons. You walk on the soft grass of the bank, watching a heron stand perfectly still in the shallows, patient as the dusk itself. A vole slips silently from the reeds and is gone. The willow leaves hang motionless, silvered on their undersides by the dying light. Somewhere upstream a fish rises, and the rings spread gently outward and fade. The air smells of cool water and crushed mint. The first owl calls once, soft and low, from the wood across the meadow. You breathe slowly and feel the whole evening flowing past you, unhurried as the river, carrying the day quietly away. On the village green, the day's warmth still rises from the cropped grass, where children played until the light failed. You sit beneath the great spreading oak, whose leaves hang motionless in the windless evening. Around the green, the cottages show their lamps one by one, soft yellow squares in the blue dark. The smell of cut grass and warm earth fills the air. A late thrush sings from the churchyard wall, slow and clear, then lets the silence return. Somewhere a gate latches gently shut for the night. You lean back against the broad trunk, still warm from the long day's sun, and feel the green and the village settle around you into a deep and easy quiet. In the small cottage parlor, the spring dusk gathers gently, and you sit by the window in a soft old armchair, watching the light fade from the garden beyond the glass. A clock ticks slow and steady on the mantel, the only sound in the quiet room, and beside it a small vase holds a few stems of bluebells gathered from the wood. The cushions are worn and comfortable, holding the shape of long use. Outside, a blackbird gives its last few notes from the lilac bush and falls silent. The room dims softly around you, the corners filling with kind shadow. There is no lamp lit yet, no need of one. There is a deep, drowsy peace in sitting here while the evening comes, the slow tick of the clock easing you gently toward rest. The churchyard lies peaceful in the early light, its old leaning stones furred with grey-green moss and softened by years of weather. You walk slowly along the grass path between them, the dew soaking cool through your shoes. A great yew tree spreads its dark branches over one corner, and beneath it the shadows are deep and still. Birdsong is faint and scattered, no more than a few sleepy notes from the hedgerow. The morning mist drifts low among the graves, gentling every edge. There is nothing fearful here, only a deep, settled quiet, the rest of those long at peace. You sit on a worn stone bench and breathe the cool air, letting the ancient stillness of the place ease your own tired thoughts into calm. Picture a wide hearthside settle in a village inn, long after the last traveler has gone up to bed, where the deep stillness fills the low-beamed room. A faint breeze finds its way under the heavy door and stirs the cold ashes ever so slightly, and the single lamp on the bar burns low and steady. Pewter mugs hang quiet on their hooks, and the long wooden tables are wiped clean and empty. The fire has dwindled to a soft red glow that breathes in the dark. You sit on the worn settle with a blanket about you, sinking into the cushions, listening to the gentle wind in the eaves. The warm dim room and the slow-moving air hold you safe, and sleep comes drifting easily in. You walk a sunken green lane where the banks rise high and mossy on either side, holding the deep stillness close in the gathering dusk. A faint breeze trickles down the lane, cool and earthy, stirring the ferns and the heart-stung that grow thick from the damp banks. The leaf mold is soft and quiet beneath your feet, and the air smells green and old and clean. Roots arch over the path like the beams of a low hall, and the last light filters down soft and dim. A robin sings one gentle phrase from the bank, then is still. You move slowly through the cool green hollow, the breeze about you, and the deep quiet of the lane wraps around you like a soft and welcome rest. The narrow footpath behind the cottages is yours alone tonight, soft with moss and old fallen leaves. You walk slowly, hands loose at your sides, and the village lies sleeping on either hand. Low stone walls hold the day's last warmth, and you trail your fingers along their rough tops as you pass. Above, the first stars open one by one, shy and unhurried. You remember walking this same path as a child, smaller then, the walls seeming taller. The memory rises gently and settles again, asking nothing of you. A faint scent of honeysuckle drifts from a darkened garden. Your footsteps make almost no sound on the yielding earth, and your mind grows wide and quiet as the deepening field beyond. The water meadow lies under a sheet of low mist, and the slow stream that winds through it is half hidden in the grey. You walk along its grassy bank in the cool dawn, your steps soft on the wet ground. Cattle stand motionless in the distance, dark shapes in the haze, breathing out faint clouds. Reeds and rushes lean over the water, dripping. A heron stands frozen at the stream's edge, then lifts away on slow, soundless wings. The air is cool and damp, and smells of green water and crushed grass. Everything here moves slowly, if at all. You stand quietly in the wide, misty field, watching the slow stream and the still cattle, and feel a deep and gentle peace settle through you. In the warm kitchen at the day's end, you sit by the hearth where the cooking fire has settled to a soft amber bed. The flagstone floor is cool beneath your feet, but the room is full of gentle heat and the smell of stewed apples left to cool on the sill. Our kettle sits at the edge of the fire, ticking faintly as it loses its steam. Through the small window, the summer dark presses softly against the glass. A cat is curled on the rug, rising and falling with its own slow breath. You rest your hands around a warm cup and listen to the quiet settling of the house, the small creaks of timber easing in the cooling night. The water meadow lies flooded and grey, the slow river having spread out gently across the grass in the night, and now the mist sits low upon it, so that water and fog are one soft sheet. You walk the raised path along the edge, dry beneath your feet, and watch a heron stand motionless far out in the shallows, a pale grey shape against the grey. Reeds rise here and there from the flood, dark and still. A single swan drifts somewhere in the mist, half seen. The cool air smells of water and wet grass. There is a deep, wide stillness over the whole meadow, calm and grey and endless, asking nothing. You stand and breathe it in, your thoughts spreading and slowing like the gentle flood, and feel a quiet peace settle softly through you. The blacksmith's forge stands cold and silent now, its great door open to the moonlit night. You step inside and find the place transformed, the anvil glowing dull silver, the hanging tools casting long, thin shadows across the swept earthen floor. The fire in the hearth has died to grey ash, and the bellows hangs slack and resting. Moonlight pours through the high window and lies in a bright square upon the ground. The air still holds the faint warm smell of iron and char, softened now, almost sweet. A horseshoe waits upon the bench, half finished, content to be finished another day. Everything here has earned its rest. You stand in the cool quiet of the workshop and feel the day's heat long gone, replaced by a deep and easy calm. The hilltop above the village holds the last full warmth of the afternoon, and you sit in the short turf to take in the view. Below, the cottages cluster in their hollow, their roofs glowing, threads of wood smoke rising into the still air. The patchwork of fields spreads out beyond, golden and green, stitched with dark hedgerows and dotted with grazing sheep. A buzzard wheels far overhead, riding the warm air in slow, silent circles. The breeze on the hilltop is mild and smells of thyme and dry grass. You wrap your arms around your knees and let your gaze drift slowly over the wide, gentle land, feeling small and calm and quietly happy in the great golden hush of the late afternoon. On the village green, the great oak stands black against the last of the rose sky, its broad branches spread wide over the grass where the day's games have ended. You sit beneath it with your back against the rough, warm bark and look up through the dark leaves at the deepening color overhead. A few late swallows wheel and dip in the upper air, catching the last insects of the day. The grass beneath you is soft and still warm from the sun. Somewhere a gate clicks shut and footsteps fade away into a cottage. The first owl calls from the wood beyond the green. The air cools gently around you, carrying the smell of grass and earth, and you sit easy in the tree's old shadow as the dusk comes softly down. The byre is warm with the breath of cattle, and beyond its open door the mist lies thick over the farmyard, soft and grey and still. You stand in the straw-scented dimness and listen to the slow shifting of the cows, the gentle rhythmic sound of their chewing, the occasional soft snort. Their great dark shapes are calm and patient in the gloom. A barn cat slips past your feet and curls in the hay, purring low. Outside, the fog hides the world entirely, so the byre feels like a snug grey island of warmth and quiet. The smell of milk and straw and animal hangs gentle in the air. You lean against the worn wooden stall and breathe it in, unhurried, and feel the deep, peaceful stillness of the early morning settle around you like a blanket. The high lane to the next village runs along a ridge, but this morning the ridge is gone, swallowed in fog, and you walk a narrow world of grey with hedges close on either hand. The hawthorn berries glow dull red through the mist, beaded with dew, and the grass down the centre of the lane is soaked and shining. A robin keeps pace with you for a while, flitting from branch to branch, then drops back into the murk. There is no view, no distance, only the soft white close around you and the gentle drip of the leaves. The cool air is clean and tastes of rain. You walk slowly, unhurried, with nowhere you must reach, and the blank quiet of the fog smooths every thought until your mind is as soft and still as the morning. A bundle of letters is tied with a faded ribbon and tucked in a drawer, the paper soft and yellowed, the ink gone pale brown. You lift the bundle and feel its light, papery weight, the soft give of the ribbon's bow, loosened by time. The folds have worn furry, and the edges curl gently inward. A faint scent of old paper and dried flowers rises from them, sweet and a little dusty. The handwriting loops across each page in soft, unhurried lines, the words too faded to read in the dim. There is nothing to answer tonight, nothing to read. The letters simply rest in their quiet bundle, holding their gentle weight of words, while the drawer's shadow deepens and the room grows still and dark. In a small upstairs room, a child sleeps beneath a heavy quilt, and the whole house keeps its breath low around them. A candle burned down hours ago, its last thread of smoke long since faded. The window holds a square of deep blue night, dusted with a few faint stars. The quilt rises and falls with slow, even breathing, and a worn cloth toy rests in the crook of one small arm. The room is cool, but the bed is a warm and gathered nest. Outside, the village sleeps too, dark and quiet beneath the same patient sky. There is nothing in this hour but rest, soft and complete. You can almost feel the slow tide of the child's breathing pull at your own, drawing you down into the same deep and dreamless calm. You lean in the doorway of your darkened cottage one last time before bed, looking out over the quiet lane where the stars hang soft above the sleeping village. The fire is banked, the room behind you dim and warm, and the night air drifts cool and gentle across the threshold. Above the dark roofs the whole sky glitters, layer upon soft layer, serene and uncountable, the faint band of paler light threading across the deep dark. The lane is silent, every neighbor's window is dim. A last faint scent of wood smoke lingers in the cool air. You breathe it in slowly, your eyelids heavy, your body ready for rest. You watch the patient stars a moment longer, then ease the door gently closed, carrying their quiet light with you into the soft and welcoming dark. The cottage kitchen is warm and still in the late afternoon, and you sit at the scrubbed wooden table where a beam of sun lies across the worn grain. A bowl of plums rests in the light, their skins dusky purple and glowing softly at the edges. The room smells faintly of bread and herbs hung drying from the beams. Through the open door drifts the gentle sound of the garden, a bird, a breeze, the soft creak of a gate. A cat dozes on a cushioned chair in the corner. You rest your hands flat on the warm wood of the table and watch the dust turn slowly in the sunbeam, feeling the deep domestic peace of the quiet kitchen wrap gently around you in the golden light. In the kitchen garden, between the rows of beans grown tall on their poles, a song thrush has settled low in the currant bushes for the night. Its speckled breast is hidden now among the dark leaves, and it sits rounded and still, feathers loosened against the cool. The day's long musical phrases are silent. The soil holds the warmth of the sun, breathing it slowly into the dusk, and the scent of crushed mint hangs faint in the air. You can imagine the thrush drawing one foot up into its feathers, head sinking, eyes closing. No breeze moves the garden now. The little bird rests deep in its leafy shelter, safe among the fruit, while the night settles soft over the quiet rows. A narrow path winds up the low hill behind the village, past hedgerows that wear thin lines of snow along their tops. You climb slowly, your breath easy, and pause where the path opens to a view of the rooftops below. From here, the whole village looks like something half remembered from a dream, every roof softened, every chimney trailing the faintest smoke. The snow falls between you and the houses in a slow, drifting curtain, blurring the small golden windows into warm smudges of light. The cold air is clean and still. You stand a while, watching the flakes settle on the hedgerows and the paths, and the quiet of the hill wraps around you like a familiar, well-worn coat. Picture the lane behind the cottages where the kitchen gardens give way to a low orchard, and the deep stillness of the night has settled among the apple trees. A faint breeze moves between the gnarled trunks, lifting the smell of ripening fruit and dew-wet grass into the cool air. The branches sway gently overhead, their leaves whispering for a moment before falling quiet. A few windfall apples lie soft in the grass, untroubled. Above, between the dark boughs, a scatter of stars shows through, calm and bright. You wander slowly down the grassy row, brushing low leaves with your fingertips, and the sweet orchard air and the gentle wind seem to draw the tiredness gently out of your limbs. In the apple loft above the farmhouse, where the harvest is laid out in fragrant rows, a wren has slipped through a crack in the eaves to roost. The little bird settles among the rafters, a tiny round shape in the dark, feathers fluffed against the cool night air. The smell of stored apples fills the loft, sweet and mellow, and the boards below hold the warmth of the rooms beneath. The day's loud, bright song is silent now. You can picture the wren tucked into the corner of a beam, its small head sunk, its eyes closed, its whole self gathered into warmth. The loft lies still and dim and sweet, and the wren sleeps within it, safe above the sleeping house until morning light returns. The duck pond on the green wears its mist like a soft grey quilt, and the ducks doze on the bank with their heads tucked under their wings, no inclination to wake. You sit on the worn wooden bench by the water, its slats cool and damp beneath you, and watch the fog drift slowly across the still surface. A willow leans low, its trailing leaves just touching the water, stirring nothing. The cottages around the green are pale soft shapes in the murk, their windows dark and quiet. Now and then a drop falls from a leaf and rings the silence with the smallest sound. There is nowhere to be and nothing to do. You rest your hands in your lap and breathe the cool morning, and the deep stillness of the pond settles slowly through you. The blacksmith's pond behind the forge is fed by a small spring, and this morning the mist sits on it so thickly that the water and the air seem to merge into one soft grey. You stand at the mossy edge, where ferns grow lush and dripping, and watch the slow movement of the fog across the surface. A frog plops gently from a stone and is gone, leaving only widening rings. The old willow hangs low, its leaves trailing in the water, stirring nothing. Behind you the forge is cold and quiet, its door shut. The cool air smells of water and green and damp iron. There is nothing here but stillness, soft and grey and kind. You breathe it slowly in, and the quiet of the little pond settles deep and easy within you. Inside the old farmhouse kitchen, the iron stove ticks and breathes with a low orange heat. You sit near it on a worn wooden chair, hands wrapped around a mug of something warm, and let the warmth seep slowly into your fingers. Outside the small window, snow drifts past in the dark, catching the last of the lamplight. The kettle has long since quieted. A cat lies curled on the rug, one ear twitching as it dreams. Drying herbs hang from a beam above, swaying just a little in the gentle stove warmth. The cold presses softly at the glass, but here all is mellow and dim. You feel your shoulders loosen, your eyelids grow heavy, the long winter night holding the room close and still. The schoolhouse stands dark and quiet on the green, its small windows frosted, the bell silent in its little cote above the door. You walk past slowly through the deep snow, looking up at the steep white roof and the icicles fringing its eaves. The yard where children play by day lies smooth and untouched, the gate half buried in a drift. The deep cold holds everything in stillness, and the air smells of frost and old stone. A lamp from a cottage across the green casts a faint warm glow over the snow. You pause a while, taking in the patient sleeping building, the empty white yard, and feel the gentle quiet of the place settle over you, the winter night soft and kind and unhurried all around. The footbridge over the frozen ford is hung with icicles along both its wooden rails, each one clear and slender, catching the faint light. You stand at its center and look down at the stream, narrowed now to a dark thread between thick shelves of ice that creak softly in the cold. The snow caps the bridge's planks and rounds the stones piled at either bank. The deep stillness of the night lies over the whole crossing, broken only by the small voice of the water somewhere beneath the ice. Above, the clouds drift slow and pale across a hidden moon. You rest your hands on the cold rail, breathe the clean frozen air, and feel the gentle quiet of the place hold you softly while the night deepens. By the mill pond, the mist hangs so low you cannot see the far bank, only the near reeds standing patient in the still water. A duck moves out from the rushes, leaving a slow widening ribbon behind it, and the ripple fades before it ever reaches the edge. The old mill wheel is quiet this hour, dripping softly into the channel, one drop and then another, in no particular hurry. You rest your arms on the cool stone parapet and let your eyes go soft. The world ends a little way off in pale grey, and that feels safe rather than strange. Everything close to you is gentle and clear. Everything beyond simply waits, hushed, until the day decides to begin. On the hearth, a copper kettle sits cold and gleaming dully, its surface dimpled and softly dented from long years of service. You lay your palm against its rounded side and find it cool now, the water long since boiled and poured. The metal has darkened to a deep, warm bronze, polished pale at the spots most often handled. The lid sits slightly askew, and the handle, wrapped in faded cloth, is worn soft. A faint smell of wood smoke clings to it. There is no tea to brew tonight, no water to heat. The kettle simply rests on the cold hearth, holding its quiet emptiness, its dull copper catching the last grey light, while the room cools and the evening settles into deep and peaceful stillness. At the edge of the common, a pond lies under a blanket of mist, its surface so still it might be glass, and the rushes around it stand dark and motionless. You crouch at the bank where the grass is flattened and damp, and watch a single water boatman ripple the smooth grey skin and then go quiet. A pale half-seen willow leans over the far side, its reflection lost in the fog. Somewhere a moorhen calls once, soft and low, and then settles. The cool air smells of water and reeds, and the green of early morning. And nothing stirs that you can see. You let the deep stillness of the pond seep slowly into you, your shoulders dropping, your thoughts going as quiet and smooth as the water under its soft grey veil. The frosted hedgerow that lines the lane stands transformed tonight, every twig and thorn sheathed in delicate white rime, glittering faintly where the lamplight reaches. You walk slowly beside it, your breath clouding, and marvel at how the cold has dressed each small branch in silver. Spider webs strung between the twigs have frozen into lace, holding their shapes in the still air. Snow has gathered in the hollows beneath. A small bird sleeps tucked deep within the frosted tangle, hidden and warm. The deep cold lies clean and quiet over the lane. You move without hurry, taking in the rimed and shining hedge, and feel a gentle wonder settle over you, the winter night turning the ordinary world to something softly, quietly beautiful. From the little stone landing where the village women once rinsed their linen, you sit with your feet near the slow dark water and look up at the night. The stream slides past quiet and low, barely a murmur, and the worn flat stones beneath you still hold a trace of the day's warmth. Above, the sky is thick with stars, soft and serene, their faint light shivering now and then on the moving water. The air smells of cool stone and green weed. The village sleeps behind you, every door closed, every lamp dark. You sit very still, your breathing slow, your thoughts drifting easy as the stream. There is a gentle, timeless peace in this small, forgotten place beneath the stars, and you let it hold you, content to do nothing at all but watch and breathe. The hay meadow has been cut, and the long rows of drying grass lie pale across the field in the warm dusk. You walk among them, breathing the sweet and dusty smell that rises thickly from the cut hay. The ground beneath is warm and springy with cropped stubble. Swallows dip low over the rows, hunting the last of the day's insects, their wings flashing in the fading light. A gentle haze lies over the field, softening everything to grey and gold. Far off, the church clock strikes a single soft note across the still air. You stoop and gather a handful of the warm hay, breathing it in, and stand among the long rows as the summer evening deepens slowly into peaceful dark. The cottage attic is warm beneath its thatch, and through the small round window in the gable end, the moon shines in upon the quiet clutter of a household's keeping. You sit on the worn floorboards in the pale light among the dark shapes of old trunks, and a spinning wheel at rest, and bundles of dried herbs hanging from the beams. The moonlight falls in a soft round patch upon the floor, and dust drifts within it, turning slowly. The smell of old wood and dried lavender fills the close warm air. Below, the house is silent, everyone long asleep. Through the little window you can see the moonlit roofs of the village and a few faint stars. The attic feels like a small safe nest beneath the sky. You breathe slowly in the gentle quiet, and your eyes grow heavy. On the wooden footbridge over the brook, you stop in the warm dusk to watch the water find its way among the stones. The brook is low and clear after the long dry days, and it talks to itself softly as it goes. The planks beneath your feet still hold the warmth of the afternoon sun. Ferns crowd the cool damp banks, and the smell of water and green moss rises gently. A wagtail bobs once on a midstream rock, then flits away into the dimming light. Above, the trees meet overhead, their leaves quite still. You lean on the warm wooden rail and let the small, unhurried voice of the brook fill the quiet, until the day's last color drains slowly from the sky. In the dim warmth of the spinning room, you sit alone at the old wheel in the last light, the soft wool turning easily through your fingers. The house is quiet around you, the day's other work all done, the children settled. The wheel hums low and steady, a sound you have known your whole life. A single candle burns on the sill, casting a soft glow over the heap of carded wool. You like this evening work, the gentle, patient rhythm of it, the way it quiets the mind. You remember your mother at this same wheel, her hands sure and slow in the lamplight. The memory comes warm and tender. The wheel turns on. You let the soft thread run through your fingers and feel a deep peace settle over you, smooth and even as the spinning yarn. Within the warm parlor, an oil lamp casts its soft yellow glow across the worn rug and the shelves of well-loved books, and you settle into the deep chair by the window as the snow falls outside. The flakes drift down past the glass, lit faintly by the lamp and the pale gleam of the drifts below. The room smells of lamp oil and old paper and the lingering warmth of the day's fire. A clock ticks softly somewhere down the hall. You hold a book in your lap, but find your eyes drawn again and again to the window, to the slow, gentle descent of the snow over the quiet village. The night is deep and still, and you sink into the warmth of the chair, content to watch the white come down. You walk the muddy farm track home in the soft evening rain, a lantern swinging gently in your hand. Its light wavers over the puddles and the dripping hedges, picking out the shine of wet leaves and the dark gleam of the ruts. The rain falls steady and kind, cool on your face, drumming lightly on your hat. Ahead, the cottage windows glow warm and golden through the falling wet, promising fire and rest. The fields on either side lie hushed and dim, drinking the rain in patient silence. Your boots are heavy with good earth, but your heart is light and slow. With each step the warm light grows nearer, and the gentle rain seems to walk you home, soft and steady, all the way to your own door. Lying back in the long grass of the riverside meadow, your hands folded behind your head, you let the whole sky fill your sight. The grass is cool and soft beneath you, faintly damp with the first of the dew, and its green scent rises gently around you. Above, the stars stretch from edge to edge, more than the eye can hold, a soft and endless glittering across the deep dark. Nearby the river murmurs low among its reeds, a slow and soothing voice in the night. The village is a dark hush somewhere beyond the trees. You watch the stars without thought, your breathing slowing to the river's rhythm, your body growing wonderfully heavy and at ease. The night asks nothing of you. You simply lie there, held between the cool grass and the shining sky, and let yourself drift. On the village green stands the great old oak, its broad crown spreading wide against the moonlit sky, and tonight you sit at its foot with your back against the deep furrowed bark. The moonlight falls through the countless leaves, in a shifting net of pale light upon the grass all around you, dancing softly whenever a breath of wind moves the branches far above. The tree is ancient, older than every cottage in the village, and its great limbs reach out like sheltering arms. Acorns lie scattered in the cool grass. A small owl calls once from somewhere in the canopy, low and unhurried, then falls silent. The night air is warm and smells of leaves and earth. You lean against the old oak and feel its great patient stillness, and your own breathing slows to match it. On the dresser, an old willow pattern plate leans against the wall, its blue lines faded to a soft, watery grey. You trace the little bridge painted near its center, the two tiny figures crossing it forever in calm, unhurried steps. A hairline crack runs across one corner, mended long ago with a thread of glue gone amber. Dust lies fine and even along the rim, undisturbed, catching the last of the daylight in a pale sheen. Beside it, two teacups hang from small brass hooks, swaying not at all. The plate has no purpose tonight but to be looked at gently, its quiet pattern winding on, leading your tired eyes nowhere in particular, only inward towards sleep. On the bedside table, a small pocket watch lies open in its dish, its glass face clouded, its hands stilled at no hour in particular. You lift it by its short chain and feel the cool, smooth weight of the silver case, worn soft at the edges, warm where it has rested. The faint tick has long gone silent, the spring unwound. Tiny numbers circle the pale face, their black gone soft and grey. A thumbprint of old polish dulls the back. There is no time to keep tonight, no hour that matters. The watch simply rests in its little dish, holding its stillness, its hands at peace, while the dim room grows quiet around it and the slow, untimed evening settles gently over everything. Out on the open down above the village, a skylark has dropped from the evening sky and settled into a hollow in the grass. All day it climbed and sang high overhead, but now it crouches low and unseen, feathers fluffed against the cooling air, hidden among the tussocks. The wide sky overhead deepens slowly from gold to grey, to the first soft dark. A few sheep murmur far off and then are silent. You can imagine the little bird pressed close to the warm earth, its song folded away inside it, its small body still. The down stretches empty and calm in every direction, and the skylark rests upon it, safe in the grass, as the stars come quietly out above. In the small back kitchen, the day's washing hangs drying on a wooden rack above the cooling range, and the air is warm and faintly soapy. You sit on a low stool by the hearth, where a single candle keeps the dark at bay. The flagstones are cool, but the room holds a gentle warmth. Through the half-open door drifts the sound of the summer night, the steady song of crickets in the yard. The candle flame lanes and steadies, lines and steadies. A clean smell of linen and wood smoke fills the little room. You sit with your hands folded in your lap, watching the soft light play on the whitewashed wall, and feel the quiet, ordinary peace of the day's work done and the night come gently on. From the churchyard wall you watch the sun set behind the village, its roofs and chimneys black against a sky of molten gold. You sit on the warm flat stones, worn smooth by years of sitting, and let the evening gather around you. The grass in the churchyard has gone dewy and cool, and a thrush sings its last clear notes from the top of the lych gate. The old yew stands dark and still and full of shadow. A faint breeze carries the smell of cut grass and cooling stone. One by one the lamps come on in the cottages below, soft yellow points of light in the deepening blue. The thrush falls silent, and a great stillness settles over the village and the churchyard alike, and you sit quiet within it at peace. The dawn comes pale to the cottage window, slipping between the half-drawn curtains. You lie warm beneath heavy quilts and watch the grey light strengthen slowly on the whitewashed wall, where it picks out the faint pattern of the old hung sampler. The room is cool and still and smells faintly of beeswax and lavender. Outside, a single bird begins a soft and tentative song, then another joins it, low and unhurried. The thatch above murmurs as a sparrow shuffles in its nest. You have nowhere to go and nothing to do, but watch the light grow gentle in the quiet room, drawing the quilts a little closer, feeling the deep luxurious peace of a morning that asks nothing of you at all. The shallow ford where the lane crosses the stream lies cool and inviting in the warm dusk. You stand at its edge and let the clear water run over your bare feet, still warm from the day's walking. The stream is low and gentle, sliding over its bed of pale gravel with a soft and steady sound. Dragonflies have gone to rest, but a few moths drift low over the water. The banks are thick with meadowsweet, pouring out their creamy scent into the evening. Beyond the ford, the lane climbs gently into shadow. You stand a while with the cool water moving past your ankles and the warm air on your shoulders, listening to the stream, and feel the day's tiredness float quietly away. A small framed sampler hangs crooked on the wall, its stitched letters faded to the softest brown on linen, gone the color of weak tea. You lean close and trace the careful cross-stitch alphabet with your eyes, each letter a little uneven, sewn by a patient young hand long ago. A border of tiny flowers and a small stitched house edge the cloth. The frame is plain dark wood, its corners worn pale. Here and there a stitch has loosened, but the words still hold. There is nothing to read aloud, nothing to learn tonight. The sampler simply hangs in the dim, keeping its quiet record of a slow afternoon's work, while the grey light fades from the wall and the small room grows softly dark. The shepherd's hut stands alone on the dark hillside above the village, its small lamp long since lowered for the night. Inside, a narrow bunk holds a warm heap of blankets, and the air is close and faintly sweet with the smell of wool and wood smoke. A small stove ticks softly as its last heat fades. Through the little window, the hillside falls away into darkness, and far below the village sleeps as a scatter of dim rooftops beneath the stars. The flock lies bedded somewhere near, a soft, pale cluster in the grass, breathing slow. The wind has dropped entirely. There is only the deep, wide quiet of the high country at night. You lie back in the warm, narrow bunk, and the gentle isolation feels not lonely at all, but peaceful, safe, and very still. The duck pond at the heart of the village lies smooth as poured glass in the failing light, mirroring the pale evening sky and the dark shapes of the surrounding cottages. A few ducks glide unhurried across it, leaving long widening trails that smooth themselves away. You sit on the worn wooden bench at the water's edge, where the air smells faintly of reeds and cool mud. Reflections waver and steady, waver and steady. A willow leans its new green over the far bank, trailing its fingertips in the still water. The day's warmth lifts gently from the ground around you. There is a deep restfulness in watching the pond hold the last of the light, and the slow circling of the birds seems to slow your breathing too. In the dim brewhouse behind the inn, you sit on an old barrel in the cool and quiet, the great vats standing silent in the shadows. The yeasty smell of the place hangs warm and comfortable in the air, a smell you have known your whole life. A small high window lets in the last grey light of evening. The day's work is done, the casks all stoppered and rolled into their rows. You like to come here at dusk, when the village above has grown quiet and the brewhouse keeps its own deep peace. You remember the warm bustle of brewing days, the steam and the soft talk and the patient waiting. The memory is a gentle one. You rest in the cool shadows and let the stillness fill you slowly, like water finding its level. The snow gathers along the top of the long stone wall that runs the length of the village lane, building up in a smooth white ridge above the dark weathered stones. You walk slowly beside it, trailing a gloved hand near its snowy crest, watching the flakes settle one by one. A lichen and moss show dark beneath the white in patches, the marks of many quiet years. The lane curves gently ahead, growing paler with each falling flake. A wooden gate set into the wall wears its own soft cap of snow, lading into a garden gone still for the winter. The cold is mild, the night calm. You follow the wall at an easy pace, the snow soft underfoot, feeling the deep, settled peace of the old lane wrap quietly around you. The path through the bluebell wood is dim and green and cool, and the last light slants down through the high beech leaves in soft golden bars. You walk slowly on the leaf-soft ground, the air sweet and faintly honeyed with the scent of the flowers. A blackbird sings somewhere deep in the trees, its evening song clear and unhurried and full. The bluebells stand in drifts of dusky violet beneath the trunks, fading now into the shadow. A deer steps quietly across the path ahead, pauses to regard you with calm dark eyes, and melts away among the trees without a sound. The wood grows dim and gentle around you as the light fails. You breathe the cool green air slowly, and feel the deep old peace of the trees settle quietly over you. On the dresser top, a hairbrush lies face down beside a small oval mirror gone dim with age. You turn the brush over and feel the smooth wooden back, worn glossy, and the soft give of the bristles, a little splayed from years of gentle use. A few pale hairs are caught among them, catching the faint light like fine threads. The mirror's silver has flaked at the edges, leaving soft dark blooms that frame your dim reflection. A trace of lavender powder dusts the wood. There is nothing to tidy, no hair to smooth tonight. The brush simply rests where it was set down, the mirror holds its soft grey glow, and the small still life of the dresser settles quietly into the dark. Inside the cooper's workshop, barrel staves lay in neat rows against the wall, and the air smells of oak and wood shavings and faint wood smoke. You step in from the deep cold and feel the lingering warmth of the small stove in the corner, its embers glowing low. A frost has crept along the window, but the workshop holds a snug and settled calm. Half-made barrels stand on the floor, their hoops gleaming dully in the dim light. Curls of wood lie soft about the bench. Outside the snow falls silent and steady through the dark. You linger in the quiet warmth, breathing the clean scent of oak, listening to the deep stillness of the winter night, and feel a gentle, restful peace gather slowly around you in the dim and fragrant room. The lane down to the well is empty in the blue dusk, and you walk it slowly with the cool evening on your face. On either side, the cottage gardens are settling into shadow, the rows of beans and cabbages dim and still, a few late roses pale against the dark hedges. You have walked this lane 10,000 times, and your feet know every dip and stone. At the old well, you rest a moment on its mossy rim and listen to the deep quiet of the water far below. The first bat flickers overhead, silent and soft. You think of the long, ordinary peace of your days here, and the thought is sweet and easy. As the dusk deepens around you, and you turn for home with a calm and quiet heart. Along the dry stone wall at the top of the village, you walk where the path is still warm underfoot from a day of sun. The stones beside you tick and creak faintly as they let go of their heat into the cooling air. Below, the cottages have begun to light their lamps, small and golden in the gathering dusk. A scent of wild thyme rises wherever your steps brush the verge. The sky above the hills holds a long band of fading rose. A few sheep move slowly in the meadow beyond, pale shapes drifting toward the gate. You rest a hand on the warm rough stone, look out over the gentle valley, and let the evening hold you quietly in place. On the broad flat stone before the cottage threshold you sit a while in the cool of the night, your back against the sun-warmed wall that has not yet given up the day. The little village lane runs dark and empty before you, lined with sleeping gardens and low stone walls. Above the roofs, the stars have gathered in their soft thousands, a quiet glittering across the deep arch of the sky. You rest your hands on your knees and look up slowly, letting your gaze drift among the gentle points of light. The night air is mild and smells of earth and growing things. A deep ease settles through you, unhurried and complete. You feel the slow turning of the great calm sky above the small still village, and you breathe with it, peaceful and ready for sleep. Along the garden fence, a loose board taps softly in the night breeze, a slow, hollow knock that comes whenever the wind stirs and falls silent when it stills. It is a gentle, woody sound, not insistent, just the patient tapping of old timber against its post. You lie in the dim room with the window open and listen to the board keep its loose time with the wind, a soft knock, a pause, another, the rhythm shifting with each lull and gust. There is nothing in it to startle, only this idle, homely tapping out in the dark garden. The sound comes and goes, and its gentle irregularity lulls you the way a hand patting a child might, slow and kind. Along the village lane, the hedgerows have turned to soft black shapes against a sky of fading indigo. You walk slowly, your footsteps quiet on the packed earth, and the cool of the evening brushes your face like a kindness. On either side the cottages have begun to glow, one window at a time, each small light warm and golden against the blue. The smell of supper drifts out from open doors, of bread and broth and something sweet. A cat slips silently along a low wall and disappears into the dusk. You let your shoulders drop and your pace grow slower still, and the lane seems to carry you gently onward, deeper into the quiet, settling dark. The baker's chimney still sends up a faint thread of smoke, though the ovens have long gone cool, and the warm scent of yesterday's bread lingers in the cold air. You pass the shuttered shop and notice how the snow has settled on the wooden sign above the door, softening its painted letters. Each flake seems to choose its place with great care. The street is narrow here, the houses close, and the snow falls straight down in the windless dark, filling the spaces between the stones. A cat watches from a low windowsill, blinking slowly, unbothered. You walk on at an easy pace, your shoulders dusted white, feeling no need at all to be anywhere but here, in this quiet, settling hour. In the parlor, the lamp burns low and steady, and you sit in the deep armchair with a book resting unread in your lap. The fire has burned down to a glow of embers, warm and red, and the cold presses softly at the frosted window. The mantel clock ticks slow and even in the quiet. Outside, the snow falls without a sound, and now and then a small soft thump tells of it sliding from the roof. The room smells faintly of wood smoke and old paper. You let the book lie and simply watch the embers breathe and dim, your thoughts drifting easily, your body sinking into the chair's worn comfort. The deep winter night holds the house close, and you feel wonderfully, gently still. In the linhay open to the yard, the cattle have lain all night in the deep warm straw. You stand at its low rail in the grey dawn and watch them dozing, great dark shapes breathing slow and even in the dimness. The morning light reaches gently in beneath the low roof, falling soft across their backs. One beast rises slowly, stretches, and lowers its head again to the hay. The air is warm here and close and sweet, a haven against the cool of the open yard. The swallows stir in the rafters above. You lean upon the rail and breathe the deep contented warmth of the place, feeling the slow, patient calm of the animals ease your thoughts toward rest. By the window of the weaver's cottage, the loom stands quiet, its threads still and pale in the dim light. You sit nearby beneath a woolen blanket, the spinning wheel resting in the corner, and watch the snow gather on the small panes. A low fire burns in the grate, just enough to keep the deep cold at bay, and the room smells faintly of wool and wood smoke. Skeins of yarn hang on the wall in soft muted colors, swaying just slightly in the warmth rising from the hearth. Outside, the lane is silent under its white burden. You draw the blanket closer and let your gaze rest on the falling snow, your thoughts slowing with the steady drift of it, the winter night gentle and unhurried all around. From the gate of the old churchyard, you look out over the village as the spring evening deepens. The grass between the leaning headstones has grown long and soft, scattered with daisies that fold their petals as the light goes. An ancient yew spreads its dark, calm canopy near the porch, holding a pool of deeper shadow. The church wall still gives back the warmth of the afternoon sun against your hand. Somewhere below, a window lights amber, then another, small and welcoming in the gathering dusk. There is no sound but the settling of birds in the ivy and the far, faint lowing of a cow. This is a place that has held quiet for centuries, and it holds it still around you now. The little stream that threads the edge of the village runs low and clear this spring evening, slipping over its bed of rounded stones with a soft and constant murmur. You sit on the grassy bank where the willows trail their new leaves toward the water. Watercress grows thick at the shallows, and a moorhen picks its careful way along the far margin without the smallest hurry. The light lies gold and level across the meadow beyond, and the air smells of cool water and bruised mint. A single dragonfly hangs and drifts above the surface. The stream has flowed this way for longer than anyone remembers, and its endless quiet voice seems to loosen every knot of thought, easing you gently toward stillness. The duck pond on the green has gone quiet now, the birds settled along its banks for the night. You sit on the worn wooden bench at its edge, where the slats are warm from the long day's sun. The water lies dark and still, holding a single reflected lamp from a cottage window. Bulrushes stand motionless against the deepening sky. A faint smell of mud and warm grass hangs in the windless air. A moorhen gives one soft call from the reeds and then is silent. The evening deepens slowly around you, gentle and unhurried. You let your gaze rest on the still dark water and its small bright reflection, and feel the calm of the place sink quietly into your bones. The old village forge yard lies quiet in the spring evening, the great doors drawn half closed, and you pause at the gate where the cooling cinders still breathe a faint warmth into the dusk. A cart wheel leans against the wall, its iron rim newly fitted and gleaming dully in the last light. The good honest smell of charcoal and warm metal lingers in the still air. Above the roof, a thin grey ribbon of smoke uncoils slowly and is lost in the paling sky. Sparrows that nest in the eaves have quieted now, tucked away. The day's ringing work is finished, and the yard is hushed. There is a settled, satisfied peace about the quiet forge at evening, the calm that follows honest labor, and you breathe the warm, dim air of it and feel your own thoughts slow and ease. You sit on the broad stone doorstep in the cool of the evening, shelling the last of the day's peas into a wooden bowl, though there is no hurry to finish. The village lane before you is empty and dim, the cottage gardens settling into shadow. The soft pop of the pods and the small rattle of the peas in the bowl are the only sounds. You have done this gentle work on this same step through more summers than you can count. The first stars are gathering above the rooftops. You remember sitting here beside your grandmother long ago, your small hands learning the rhythm. The memory comes warm and tender. A late bee hums past and is gone. You set the bowl aside and rest your hands, breathing the cool, sweet air, your heart at peace. In the kitchen, garden, the rows of vegetables glisten under a heavy coat of dew. You move slowly between the beds as the dawn light gathers, your hem damp with brushing the wet leaves. The runner beans climb their poles in tall green ranks, beaded with moisture, and the cabbages hold small pools of water in their cupped hearts. A snail makes its slow, patient way along the edge of a stone path. The air is cool and rich with the smell of damp earth. A robin lands on the garden fork left standing in the soil and watches you with bright black eyes. You pause among the quiet growing things, breathing the gentle morning, and feel utterly at peace. On the mantel shelf, a small glass paperweight holds a single pressed flower, suspended in its clouded dome. You lift it and feel its surprising weight, cool and dense in your palm, the smooth curve fitting neatly against your fingers. Inside, the tiny blue flower floats forever, its petals soft and faded, caught mid-bloom in still glass. The base is worn slightly rough where it has rested. As you turn it in the dim light, a faint, watery gleam slides across its surface. There is nothing to weigh down tonight, no papers to hold. The paperweight simply rests in your hand, holding its small still flower, quiet and complete, while the dim light softens its edges and the evening settles deeply into calm around you. The little footbridge over the village stream wears a smooth saddle of snow along its arch, and beneath it the water moves dark and slow, too gentle to freeze. You stand at the middle of the bridge and watch the flakes fall into the stream, where they vanish the instant they touch the surface. The banks on either side are white and rounded, the grasses bowed beneath their soft load. A willow trails its bare branches toward the water, each twig outlined in delicate white. The cold is mild and the air is still, and the only sound is the faint murmur of the stream slipping by below. You rest there, hands on the snowy rail, feeling the slow peace of the place settle deep into your bones. You sit by the window of the village alehouse, long since emptied for the night, watching the rain stream down the small thick panes. A single lamp burns low behind the bar, and the fire has sunk to a warm red glow on the wide stone hearth. The room smells of malt and old timber and wood smoke. Outside, the rain falls steady on the cobbled street, running in the gutters, dripping from the painted sign that sways the gentlest bit on its iron bracket. No travelers tonight, no talk, only the soft and constant fall. You rest your arms on the worn oak table and gaze at the silver weather beyond the glass, and the quiet warmth of the place and the gentle rain together loosen every knot of the long day. Imagine you are lying on a grassy bank above the village, looking down at the scattered cottages in the deep stillness of nightfall. A faint breeze comes up the slope, cool and grassy, bending the long stems around you so they sway slowly against the dimming sky. Below, a few small windows glow soft amber among the dark roofs, and a thin ribbon of wood smoke rises straight and slow into the calm air. The grass beneath you is warm from the day and soft as a bed. Stars begin to show, one by one, faint and patient overhead. You lie quite still, watching the little lights of the village and the gathering stars, and the gentle wind and the deep evening hush settle you into a deep, easy peace. Late in the still hour before sleep, you stand at the open cottage door, wrapped warm, and look out at the snow falling soft and slow over the whole sleeping village. The lane is smooth and white, the rooftops rounded, the chimneys breathing their last thin threads of smoke into the deep blue dark. Not a single sound reaches you, only the great hush of the snow as it settles over everything. A lantern down the way glows small and gold, and the flakes drift through its light like slow falling stars. The cold air is clean and gentle on your face. You stand a long, peaceful moment in the doorway, watching the village disappear beneath its soft white blanket, then step back inside, close the door gently, and let the quiet carry you toward rest. Along the riverbank, the willows lean low over the slow dark water, and the blue hour has settled soft upon the meadows beyond. You walk the worn path by the water's edge, the long grass cool and wet against your legs, the air thick with the green smell of the river. A heron stands motionless in the shallows, a pale grey shape against the dimming reeds, patient and unhurried. The water slides past dark and smooth, carrying small fragments of the fading sky. A fish rises once with a soft and circling ripple. You walk on slowly through the deepening dusk, content in the quiet, while the willows whisper faintly overhead and the first stars gather in the velvet dark above the stream. Before the village wakes, the lane lies under a soft grey light, and the cobblestones hold the cool of the night still. You walk slowly past shuttered windows, your footsteps muffled by a thin mist that drifts low along the gutters. A single rooster clears its throat somewhere far off, half-hearted in no hurry. Dew gathers on the iron gate latches and beads along the tops of low stone walls. The bakery chimney has only just begun to thread a faint ribbon of smoke into the pale sky. Nothing here asks anything of you. You simply move through the hush, breathing the clean morning air, letting your shoulders soften as the village dreams a little longer beneath its blankets of fog. From the open doorway of a kitchen, the slow tick of a wooden clock drifts out into the evening lane. Each tick is soft and even, a small wooden heartbeat in the dim room behind you. Between the ticks there is a quiet so complete you can hear the house settling, a beam easing, the faint shift of cooling stone. The pendulum swings without effort, marking the unhurried minutes of a place that has no reason to rush. You let the sound fold around you, tick, then pause, then tick, until the counting stops mattering, and only the gentle, regular pulse remains, carrying you toward an easy, untroubled rest. You are tucked beneath a heavy quilt in the farmhouse bedroom, while the rain sweeps softly over the slate above. The window looks out on the dim shapes of the orchard, the apple trees standing patient and dark in the falling wet. Now and then a gust brushes a flurry of drops against the glass, then settles back into the steady, soothing fall. The room is cool, but the bed is warm, and the smell of clean linen mingles with the damp green air slipping under the sash. Somewhere a loose shutter taps very gently, slow and unhurried. You listen to the rain wander over the roof and the fields beyond, vast and quiet and kind, and you feel yourself sinking softly into the deep, into sleep. In the small village shop after closing, you sit alone among the shadowed shelves, the day's accounts laid by, the door bolted and the blind drawn down. The familiar smells surround you, dried tea and beeswax, soap and apples and old wood. A single lamp burns low on the counter, and the rows of jars and tins gleam faintly in its glow. You like this quiet hour best, when the bell above the door has fallen silent and the whole place is yours. You remember the steady, comfortable years spent here, the gentle round of seasons in this little room. The clock on the wall ticks softly. You fold your hands and look out over the dim and orderly shop, and a deep, settled contentment fills you to the brim. From the churchyard's low wall you look out over the sleeping village, the old gravestones standing quiet and pale among the long grass around you. There is nothing fearful here, only a deep and ancient peace, the kind that has settled over this place through countless gentle nights. Above the squat stone tower the sky brims with stars, soft and unnumbered, spilling down toward the dark hills. A yew tree spreads its still branches against the glitter. The night air is cool and smells of grass and stone, and somewhere a small stream murmurs faintly beyond the wall. You rest there a while, your breathing slow, your shoulders loose. The stars wheel imperceptibly overhead, patient and kind, and you feel held by the long, quiet calm of the watching sky. The cottage hearth is cold this early, but the kitchen still holds the warmth of yesterday's fire, and through the small window the garden swims in fog, the hollyhocks just pale ghosts against the grey. You sit at the scrubbed wooden table with your hands around a cup gone cool, and watch the mist drift past the diamond panes. A kettle waits black and patient on the hearth. The flagstone floor is cold and smooth beneath your stockinged feet. Outside, a blackbird gives one soft note from the dripping hedge and then is quiet. There is no need to rise and stir the day awake just yet. The fog presses gently at the glass, soft and grey and kind, and you sit in the warm, dim quiet, breathing slow, content to let the morning come to you in its own time. The old stone bridge at the village edge holds the day's warmth in every block, and you sit upon its low parapet as the light fails. Below, the river moves slowly and dark, smooth as poured glass, carrying the last grey gleam of the sky. Swallows skim its surface for the final insects of the day, then climb away to their nests beneath the arch. The warm air smells of riverweed and dust and the green of the banks. A water vole plops softly somewhere out of sight. You rest your hands on the warm rough stone and watch the river slide endlessly beneath you, taking the daylight with it, leaving the gentle dark and the first faint stars upon the water. Along the gentle curve of the village pond you walk slowly, the dark water lying calm and smooth beside the reedy bank. A pale mist is just beginning to gather low over the surface, soft as breath, and beyond it the cottages sit quiet and dark. Above, the sky brims with stars, their faint light caught here and there where the water shows clear between the reeds. The night is mild and still, and smells of cool water and damp grass. You pause where an old willow leans over the pond and rest a hand against its rough bark, looking up through the trailing leaves at the soft glitter. Your thoughts slow and settle. There is nothing here but quiet water, quiet stars, and the gentle hush of the sleeping village, and you let all of it ease you toward rest. And the thatched cottage roofs catch the very first pale gold as the sun edges toward the horizon. You stand at the top of the village street and watch the light creep slowly down the rooftops, turning the grey thatch a soft warm fawn. Below, the lane still lies in shadow, cool and blue with the last of the night. A thread of smoke rises from a single chimney, straight and slow into the windless sky. The world is utterly hushed, waiting. Somewhere a dog stretches and sighs, but does not bark. You watch the gentle line of light descend, slow as honey, and feel a deep and simple contentment, as though the whole quiet village were breathing softly in its sleep. A pony grazes alone in the small paddock beside the lane, its rough coat glowing chestnut in the last warm light of the day. You lean on the wooden rail and watch it crop the short grass slowly, its tail swishing now and then in lazy contentment. The paddock is bordered by an old hawthorn hedge, its haws ripening red, and beyond it the village rooftops catch the amber sun. The air is cool and smells of grass and warm horse. The pony lifts its head and regards you with a soft dark eye, then returns without concern to its grazing. A blackbird sings briefly from the hedge and falls quiet. You stay a while at the rail in the gentle stillness, soothed by the simple, unhurried peace of the grazing pony and the fading golden light. Along the hedgerow path you walk slowly homeward, the tall dark hedges rising close on either side, their tops fringed against the glittering sky. The night is mild and still, and the path is soft with fallen leaves that hush beneath your steps. Where the hedges part at a field gate, the sky opens suddenly wide above you, brimming with stars, and you stop to lean on the gate and look. The dark field beyond rolls gently away toward the sleeping village, its few pale walls just visible. The air smells of cool green leaves and turned earth. You linger there, your thoughts slow and peaceful, the day's small cares dissolving into the soft dark. Then you walk on, unhurried, the stars keeping you quiet company all the way to your door. The smith's children have driven the cows home along the lane, and you watch from the verge as the slow herd ambles past in the amber light, their breath sweet, their hooves soft on the dusty road. The setting sun gilds their flanks and casts their long shadows across the hedge. A dog trots quietly at the rear, doing its gentle work. The bell on the laid cow chimes slow and irregular, a sound as old as the village itself. Dust hangs golden in the low light behind them. The smell of warm cattle and crushed grass fills the cooling air. The herd passes and the lane falls quiet again, and you stand a moment in the settling dust as the last of the sun slips behind the hill and the dusk comes softly on. At the village green's far corner stands the old smithy's water trough, hewn from a single block of stone, and tonight it holds the moon upon its still dark surface. You sit upon its broad, cool rim and look down at the reflected sky, the round, pale disk trembling only when a leaf drifts down to touch the water. A bucket hangs from a peg on the post above. The cobbles around the trough are worn into smooth hollows by generations of waiting hooves and turning wheels. Moonlight lies across the empty green beyond, and the dark shapes of the houses ring it round, all asleep. The night is warm and still, and smells faintly of stone and water. You trail your fingers in the cool trough and watch the moon's reflection scatter and slowly mend, and a deep ease comes over you. The old well at the crossroads stands beneath its small peaked roof, and the snow drifts in beneath the eave to settle on the worn wooden bucket and the coiled rope. You pause beside it, resting a gloved hand on the cold stone rim, and look down the 4 lanes that meet here, each one growing whiter and softer as the snow comes down. No cart will pass tonight. The signpost above wears a cap of white, its painted arrows half hidden. A single lantern hangs from a hook nearby, swaying not at all in the windless dark, casting its gentle gold across the falling flakes. You linger at the quiet meeting of the roads, content in the stillness, watching the snow gather slowly over all the paths that laid away into the dark. From the doorway of the cattle byre you look out into the starlit night, the warm breath of the resting animals soft behind you in the straw-scented dark. The yard beyond lies quiet, the gate latched, the water trough still as glass. Above the low roofs the stars have gathered thick, a gentle scattering across the deep sky, and a few of the brightest hang low over the dark fields. The night air is cool against your face, fresh after the warmth within. You lean on the worn wood of the doorframe and let your eyes wander upward, your thoughts slowing to the easy rhythm of the sleeping byre. There is nothing to tend now, nothing to mend. You watch the quiet stars a while, deeply at ease, then turn back to the soft, warm dark. The track home from the high field runs gently downhill between dewy banks, and you walk it slowly in the cool of the early morning, the village rooftops drawing nearer below. Sheep graze quietly on the slope behind you, and a soft mist lingers in the valley bottom. The hedges on either side are hung with spiderwebs strung with dew, and a single foxglove leans into the path. The light is growing, pale and gold at the edges of the sky. A robin keeps pace with you, flitting from post to post. The air is clean and cool. There is no hurry in your steps. You walk on easily, breathing the quiet morning, and feel a deep contentment settle softly through you as the village welcomes you gently home. In the cottage garden, the white flowers have begun to glow faintly in the dusk, pale stars among the darkening leaves. You walk the narrow path between the borders, your steps slow and quiet, breathing the deepening fragrance of the evening blooms. The day's warmth still rises gently from the soil. A snail makes its slow shining way across the path before you, in no more hurry than yourself. Above the garden, the sky has gone a soft, deep blue, and the first true stars have come to join the white flowers below. A moth drifts pale and silent among the stems. You stand a while in the gathering dark, breathing the sweetness of the night, and let the quiet garden ease you towards sleep. At the edge of the pond, the water lies flat and pewter-colored beneath a low ceiling of morning mist. Reeds stand motionless along the bank, their tips beaded with dew. You crouch on the soft mud and watch a pair of ducks glide out from the shadows, leaving two long, slow ripples that fade into stillness. The air is cool and smells of water and green growth. A faint bird call drifts from the willows, then quiet returns. The sun has not yet cleared the hills, so everything wears a soft, dim, silvery light. You stay there a while, knees drawn up, breathing slowly, watching the gentle spread of the ripples, feeling the unhurried calm of the pond seep gently into your tired, settling mind. Out in the byre, the soft chewing of cattle at their hay fills the warm dark with a low, even rhythm. There is the gentle pull of a mouthful from the rack, the slow grinding as they chew, the faint rustle of straw beneath their feet, then the pull again. The sounds overlap softly among the patient animals, a quiet, steady working that never hurries and never stops for long. You stand by the worn door and listen to the herd at their late feeding, the chewing, the rustle, the deep occasional breath. It is one of the most peaceful sounds the village knows, this unhurried munching in the dark, and its slow, soft rhythm settles your breathing and eases you toward rest. The granary stands full and quiet at the edge of the farmyard, its store of grain heaped deep and golden in the dark. By day it is a place of dust and labor, but now it rests, the great mounds of wheat lying still and cool beneath the rafters. The air is thick and warm with the smell of grain, dry and faintly sweet, like the memory of summer fields. A few stray seeds catch no light upon the wooden floor. Through a high slatted window, the stars show in thin bright lines. The building holds the whole harvest safe and dry against the year ahead. You stand in the doorway breathing the warm, dusty calm and the deep abundance gathered here, peaceful and provided, eases something in you toward rest. The lane that leads out of the village runs straight between two rows of tall poplars, and the moonlight falls between them in long bright bands across the dusty road. You walk down the center of the lane, and the poplar leaves whisper softly far above, a continuous gentle rustle like distant water. The trees cast their slim shadows in neat stripes, and you pass through light and shade with each unhurried step. The fields beyond the trees lie open and pale, the standing corn gone silver, swaying just slightly. The air is warm and dry, and smells of dust and ripening grain. Some moth flutters in and out of a band of moonlight ahead of you. You feel the deep simplicity of the night, the road, the trees, and you walk on slowly, perfectly content. The hilltop above the village is bare and grassy, and you climb it slowly in the soft dark, pausing often to catch your breath and look up. At the summit you turn in a slow circle, and the stars surround you on every side, an unbroken bowl of quiet light from horizon to horizon. Far below the village is a small dark cluster, its lanes invisible, its rooftops only hinted at. The air is cool and clean up here, and a faint breeze moves the grass around your feet. You lower yourself to sit and then to lie back, the whole heavens spread above you. The vastness is not frightening but soothing, a great calm presence holding the little world below. You breathe deeply, and the slow shining of the stars seems to ease every knot from your tired mind. The footbridge of old planks crosses the brook where the mist gathers thickest, and beneath your feet the water chuckles softly over stones you cannot quite see. The handrail is smooth and damp under your grip, worn pale by many hands. On either side the alders crowd close, their leaves dripping, their trunks vanishing upward into grey. You pause midway and look down into the slow dark water, where a few yellow leaves turn gently in the current. The fog drifts along the brook in soft, slow coils, brushing past the reeds. There is a deep ease in standing here above the quiet water, held by the gentle hush, with the whole wood breathing damp and still around you. Your thoughts loosen and drift like the leaves, and you let them go, unhurried. The grassy bank above the stream is warm and dry where the sun lay on it all afternoon, and you settle there in the last of the light. Below, the water slides past, dark and quiet, between banks of nodding rushes. Cattle have come down to drink in the meadow opposite, their shapes growing dim, their soft tearing of the grass carrying across the still air. The sky to the west still glows a tender orange above the hills. The swifts give their final high cries and then are gone to roost. The warm earth presses up against your back. You lie there watching the color fade slowly from the sky, listening to the cattle and the stream, and feel yourself growing as still and peaceful as the evening. In the dovecote near the barn, a few pigeons murmur their soft, rolling coos as the light fades. It is a gentle, throaty sound, rounded and warm, rising and settling like something half asleep already. One bird begins, low and slow, and another answers from a higher ledge, and the two voices fold together in no particular order. You stand below in the cooling air and listen to the cooing drift down through the slatted wood, soft as wool. The sound asks nothing of you. It simply continues, patient and tender, the contented talk of birds tucking themselves in, and you feel your own breathing slow to meet their easy, drowsy murmur. The narrow back lane between the gardens is roofed over with an old arch of trained pear trees, and tonight the moonlight falls through the leaves and laden branches in a soft scattering of pale light upon the brick path. You walk slowly beneath the green tunnel, and on either side the garden walls rise low and mossy, hung with ivy that gleams faintly silver. The ripening pears hang dark and heavy just above your head. The air is cool and smells of damp brick and growing leaves. A snail makes its slow shining way across the path, and you step gently around it. From somewhere beyond the walls comes the soft murmur of a sleeping hen settling on her roost. You walk on without hurry beneath the moonlit arch, and the close green quiet of the lane holds you gently. The village green lies open and dark before you, a wide stretch of cool grass under the enormous evening sky. You walk out to the middle of it and stand a while, then sink down to sit on the soft turf, leaning back on your palms. Overhead the stars crowd close, more of them than you could ever count, spilling from edge to edge of the great bowl of night. The duck pond at the green's far side holds a faint sheen, mirroring a few of the brightest points. No window glows, the cottages are only soft shapes around the rim. You feel the slow cool of the grass and the vast gentle hush above, and your thoughts drift loose and untroubled, like a small boat let off its rope. The hour is late, and the old village has long since gone to sleep. So let it draw you down with it into the warm and gentle dark. Let your breath grow slow and even, your body grow heavy and still, your thoughts grow soft and far away. There is nothing more to do now, nothing more to hold. The day is behind you, the night is kind, and you are safe and at peace. Feel yourself sinking, slowly and easily, into the deep quiet all around you. With each gentle breath, let sleep gather you in, until you rest, completely and peacefully until morning.